Bonjour, everybody. Hi, I'm Neshi Lilkotz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page. Today is Monday, June 11th, and this is today's card draw. This is something that we've been doing every morning since the beginning of May, and it's been fun. It's become one of those morning rituals, and I enjoy being here with the community of Star Nations in the mornings. We have come to know each other a little bit better, I think. And also, it's just plain fun. I can't help it. I do the card draw every morning anyway, right? And I started sharing it with our Instagram account. And then I had the bright idea that maybe the community here on Facebook would like to know a little bit of the backstory, and we could talk about, chat about the card and that kind of thing in the mornings. And so that's why I started doing it. And it's been fun. It really has. Hey, Jill Conrad, good day to you too. Good day to you. This morning, tea in the Yeti. I like that too. The Yeti Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation travel mug. It's a mug that my husband gave me. He's very, very big in Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation work here in Wisconsin, in our area, and up in, it's about 3.5 hours from here up north in Clam Lake. We have 2 herds here in Wisconsin. A lot of people don't know that. 2 elk herds here in Wisconsin. The older one is up in Clam Lake, where we've volunteered up there for lots of different things. And then the herd that's closest to us now is what's called the Black River herd. And they're the newest one. They've been here, I don't know, 3 years maybe? 4? Yeah. And so I've been posting shared photos. We usually help in locating the elk calves in the spring. And as volunteers, we help the Department of Natural Resources. And what they do is that, all of the adult elks are collared. They have an orange collar on, and they're tracked by radio, right? And so the DNR know by habit of the elk, the cows, who's pregnant, who's not. And when their behavior changes at the end of May, beginning of June, is when they start having their calves, their babies. And it's usually right around this time of year that we would volunteer to go help look for the babies. And why do we do that? Is so that the DNR can put the tracking collar on them, weigh them, measure them, check their health kind of situation, and then they get cataloged, right? And then they get watched. But it's fun. It's fun to be out in the woods and to look for the babies. And you'd think that it'd be easy. It's not. It's not at all. There's probably more bugs and mosquitoes and all kinds of stuff out there. And you can't use bug spray. And you can't use any kind of scent at all. And so, yeah, it's fun though. Good morning, Jocelyn. Well, today is, I keep saying this almost every day. It's a beautiful day here in Toma, but it is. It's about 68 degrees and sunshine. It's got a light breeze. It's really pretty outside. It's one of those mornings where, and I did this. I sat in our 4-season porch and had my first cup of tea and just sat there and listened to the wind coming through the trees, and it's nice. It really is nice. And that's where I did the card draw. I do that earlier in the morning, soon after Mom gets all settled. Breakfast is done and she's all settled in her room and all of her things are taken care of. I grab my first cup of whatever and then sit down and connect with my spiritual team and ask them to show me what's the most important energy to know about today, and that for the highest good, and also that I can share with others. And so it's, like I said, it's become, it's a nice part of the day for me because it's a time I can actually slow down before the busyness of the day starts. So good morning, Polly Joe. I'm so glad you're with us here in the chat room. Today's card is The Great Mystery. If I can get it out of the book. Here it is. The Great Mystery. And, coming from Star Nation's organization, we have an affinity for the stars. And this is the card. And again, love, love, love the artwork. The Great Mystery talks about the original source. Yeah. And as a Sagittarian with an undergrad degree in psychology and not quite a minor, I missed it by like 3 credits, in anthropology and philosophy. These kind of cards leave me sitting there with my cup of whatever and, sitting there to reflect on just more than what's written. And that was one of those mornings, The Great Mystery. And at the same time, this one didn't fall out of the deck, but it kind of went sideways, about 90-degree angle. Okay, is this one. And we've had this one before, The Great Smoking Mirror, and it's about reflection. Yeah. And I think the pairing up of these 2 cards was fabulous. What Spirit gave us this morning, I think. And for those who haven't joined us before, who might be watching the recorded video of this, I'm using the Jamie Sam's Sacred Hoop. That's the name of my old business. Sacred Path cards. The Sacred Path cards. And isn't it funny that Sacred Hoop would be on my mind coming out? What do they say? There's no coincidences, right? And neither are Freudian slips. So why would I have Sacred Hoop come out, right? To me, and this is part of the reflections that I did this morning, was the Great Mystery. And where is the Great Mystery found in the medicine wheel, in the Sacred Hoop of life? A lot of people would put it right in the center where the Creator is, which is true. But I also feel that the Great Mystery is the Sacred Hoop. And the Sacred Hoop, a lot of people will use the term in the Sacred Hoop, within the Sacred Hoop, right? And with my studies and incorporating it consciously into my life, which becomes a lifestyle, right? We're actually on the hoop. The hoop is always with us wherever we go. We're right in the center. It's not it's not static. It's just not in one place, and I know that I have a medicine wheel here on our property that we're stewards of, right? Because we don't really own anything here, right? That's kind of an indigenous belief, is that you can't own Grandmother Earth. Can't. We may be stewards of it, but we can't own her. And so anyway, I do have a large enough medicine wheel here that you can actually walk through. But that is a tool. That is a visible, physical tool to be able to connect mentally with the Sacred Hoop, with the medicine wheel. When you're living that lifestyle, you're always in the Sacred Hoop, always, no matter where you go. It's always there surrounding you because you're in it, you're on it. It's more than just a physical circle that you go to every once in a while. So anyway, that was a little digression about the Great Mystery. Jamie Sams wrote quite a bit about this, and she wrote some of the background from her Seneca beliefs. And I didn't know much about the Seneca beliefs, so it was fascinating to read. And for those who don't know who the Seneca are, they are an indigenous nation here in the United States, which we call Turtle Island. And they are in the eastern part of the United States. They are part of the Haudenosaunee, which is the word that in the Algonquin languages for, you might recognize it as the Iroquois Confederacy. And that confederacy was like a peace accord, sort of, between a lot of nations, indigenous nations in that particular area. And so they worked together. Some of the Constitution here in the United States is based on the Iroquois Nations Confederacy. And so the Seneca is part of that. Yeah. And Jill Conrad, you probably know a little bit more about that than I do, seeing that you live up in that neck of the woods, sort of. And Polly Joe, you might actually have a little bit too, huh? Both ladies live up in the Northeast part of the States. Jamie Sams, she says the original source of creation is called Great Mystery. The Great Mystery cannot be limited and is the creator of Great Spirit. Many Native nations people call upon the Great Spirit when praying. However, these are two different things in the Seneca tradition. And so she goes on to talk about how the Great Mystery is what we would call the void. We would call that all that is, the one, the oneness, okay? The Great Mystery is the prime creator. That's another word for it. The creator of all things, all universes, not just ours, but all of them. Yeah. And so trying to explain this to the early Europeans that came and not speaking the same language, and eventually, being able to learn a little bit of each other's language to be able to talk about this. A lot of misconceptions, a lot of misunderstanding, misinterpretations became involved. Yeah. Polly Joy is saying beautiful. She says, my uncle lives next to the Seneca Reservation. Yeah. I've never been to the Seneca Reservation, and it'd be a nice place to visit, I think. Yeah. One day when I'm up there, when my travel restrictions have been lifted, in other words, when my mom makes a decision to transition, I'll be able to travel like I used to. So Jamie Sams is talking about that the original source of creation, Great Mystery, created all things in beauty, harmony, and interdependence. The forms may change, but the energy of creation is self-regenerative and eternal, much like our souls, right? Our spirit is immortal. Our soul has different experiences in different lifetimes, or some people believe that they're parallel, that there is no past or future, that everything is happening now. And so our soul is able to experience that, not just here on earth, but maybe in other places too. And so she's saying that there's two. You've got the Great Mystery, which is the creator of the Great Spirit. Okay, and so in the Potawatomi tradition, we would be calling the Great Spirit Kechimanado, Great Spirit, right? And when the Seneca, or when the Iroquois Nation, the Haudenosaunee, were trying to explain this to their belief system to the early French traders, actually, is where the misinterpretation started coming in. And Jamie is and I kind of agree with her, because when we have anybody has a belief system that sometimes we're limited by that belief system. And so the early French traders, when they were here, their belief system was Christianity. And so they were trying to understand what the Iroquois nation was trying to explain to them and putting it into the framework that they understood, which was Christianity. And so they were calling the Great Mystery God. All right. And so it's not quite the same equivalent, because in the Seneca or the Iroquois tradition, the Great Mystery is the creator of God. Yeah. In the Ho-Chunk language, we would be calling God Mauna. And Mauna is a translation of Earthmaker, creator of all things. Okay? So there is a difference between the Great Mystery and God. That the Great Mystery is the creator of everything, even God. Yeah. So, I agree with Jamie about one, you've got a language difference and trying to understand the language without knowing the language, either one. The Seneca is speaking their own language and the French were speaking their own language and trying to understand this concept. So you can imagine, the misunderstandings with that. It's a deep subject, and try to explain that to somebody when you're speaking two different languages. Yeah, it's no wonder, huh? Good morning, Elise. And Mary, good morning to you too. I know you're listening. And Jocelyn is saying, Polly Joe, is that up by Buffalo? The Seneca reservation. She said, yes, just outside near, I'm going to mispronounce this one, Salamanca, New York. Yeah, Jocelyn saying, I know the Iroquois and the Seneca are around here. Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. That you guys that know where this is located. I love it. And so you can understand, I can just imagine what that conversation, those conversations, plural, must have been like to try to understand it. And so here the French are putting it into their own dogma, their own belief system to try to understand it, right? And Jamie writes that Native Americans have been taught through more than 100,000 years of oral history that all of creation and each individual life form was an expression of the contained Great Mystery. A part of Great Mystery lives in everything and knows no boundaries or limits. Every life form has free will to co-create with the original source in beauty and truth, or in ugliness and despair. And so that is what we are co-creating with. And we call it, nature, we call it the universe. We have a lot of words for it. But do we really understand that the Great Mystery is the one, is the original source, right? Goes beyond the limits of what we set in any religion. Doesn't matter. It could even be a Native American religion, like Native American church, or there's a lot of Native Americans who don't belong to a traditional religion, Native American religion. A lot of my mother grew up Lutheran. Yeah. My dad started out Catholic and then converted. I think he was in his 30s when he converted to be a Lutheran. And so it's not like all Native Americans grow up connected to a traditional religion. My oldest brother, he was president of his Lutheran church for 13 years, took a break. I don't even know how many years of break, but now he's the vice president of his church. And so what I'm saying is that the great mystery is just that. It's a mystery. And Jamie writes that for us to try to solve the mystery, to try to understand the great mystery to the point of solving it is actually kind of foolish, because we have this limitations of our belief systems that we would have to go through all of those filters. Why not just get into the flow and be witness and experience the great mystery? Those are the times when we just have no logical answer for something that just occurred, right? Yeah. For instance, now I don't know if this would be a good example or not. The other day, we're having a meal and we're sitting at the dining room table. And my mom has been losing weight, and she's not eating. She doesn't eat a lot, but she's been losing weight, and she's lost in the last year probably, I don't know, 20, 25 pounds, something like that. And so anyway, she sits, I help her to sit down, and we had just not even started the meal, and her chair moves back maybe an inch or so, two, enough that we see it. She feels it. And at first I thought maybe I had pushed her too close to the table, and so I thought maybe she pushed herself back. She looks down, she looks over at me, and she says, "Did you see that?" And I said, you mean your chair moving? She goes, "Yes." And I said, "So did you scoot yourself back? Did I put you too close to the table?" And she goes, "No, I didn't touch anything. I didn't touch the table. I just sat here and my chair moved back." All right. And so she starts to eat, and she goes, Do you think that my mother could have done that?" Because she was talking about my grandma. And I said, "Well, it's possible. It'd take a lot of energy to do that, to move you and the chair." I said, "Anything is possible," especially what you were talking about, my grandmother. And so anyway, after dinner, my husband, the German, he says, "I'm going to figure this out." And he says, "It can't be, it couldn't have been what you guys were talking about. There's something wrong with the chair." And granted, the chair, it's been moved around a lot with her in it and sliding it in and out. That the bolts underneath needed to be tightened a little bit. He put some wood glue in to kind of make it a little bit more sturdier, And so he was looking for the logical reason why that would happen. And I said, "Why can't you just, you've known me for 40 years. Why can't you just agree that something mysterious just happened and just be okay with it? Just let it go. Why do you have to try to figure it out and make it logical?" And so when I was reading this morning, that's what I was thinking about. One of my contemplations, one of my reflections is that many two-leggeds, many of us, we really, when something happens that we have no answer to, in our mental minds, we have to put it in some sort of category to understand it, to do that, to do what Paul did. I'm not saying that he's wrong, because he was trying to frame it in a way that he could understand it, right? But there's just some things that you can't. It doesn't fit. There's no logic to it. And so I think that's about teaching us to be in the flow, that we're not in control of everything. Yeah, that's what I think. So you know what I was doing this morning? I was sitting, all these things running through my head. Jamie Sam says the original source was interpreted by the European, called the boat people, as one great spirit equal to that of their God. And she says that there's a joke among some Native American people, is that it's according to this understanding, quote, "In the beginning was the word, and it was misunderstood." She says that this misunderstanding of the great mystery was handed down to descendants of the red race when they were forced to learn the English language through the boarding schools. And I have to agree with that. There was that indoctrination that was where they came up with the term taking what was it taking the savage out of the Indian, killing the Indian, keeping the man. I think that's what it was. Killing the Indian and keeping the man. And so, our government knew that we Native Americans had a different view of life. We had a different belief system, and they wanted everybody to be the same. And so, in order to do that, they had to change us. And what better way than to start with the children, right? So my mom was one of those children in the missionary schools. And when we talk about it, she says, I never did understand. We couldn't speak our language in the schools. Couldn't speak it at school. She goes, but when we sat down at church, because it was a Lutheran mission school run by Norwegians, okay? And she said that they would get to church and they would have to sing the hymns in Norwegian, a language they didn't know what they were singing, learning it in a different language. And she said, I never understood that they couldn't speak their own language, but they had to learn the religious songs in Norwegian. I think it's, when she tells that story, it's like, it's hard to comprehend in this day and age. One of the things that Jamie Sams wrote about that when I was looking at it, it related to this other card, The Great Smoking Mirror. It's about reflections. She wrote that each life form is created to learn to be an equal contributor to the beauty of the whole. The purpose of the common mission is to discover who you are, why you're here, what talents you can use to assist the whole, and how you're going to go about it. This mission of discovery is the sacred path of beauty that allows every living creature to express uniqueness in a way that exemplifies harmony and truth. We talked about that with this card, right? We also talked about it when we were going over the West Shield, about grounding our goals and our dreams, that law of attraction to the earth plane, and that how it goes, our talents and our gifts, the things that we came into this lifetime with, and how we express those, right? And I like this part about the sacred path of beauty. And so the sacred path of beauty that she's referring to is that in the Potawatomi and the Ojibwa, we'll call it the Anishinaabeg tradition, is that part of our earth walk between the East and the West and the medicine wheel, where all of our life lessons lie, and where we get to use and experience and master our gifts, our talents, our education, both formal and informal. It's where we gain all of our wisdom, all of our knowledge from the East to the West. And it looks like in the Seneca tradition is called the sacred path of beauty. Many times it's called the blue road, the black road, or the black and blue road, because that's where we all of our life lessons are, where we gain our wisdom. I like that, the sacred path of beauty. The other piece that I liked about it, this paragraph, is that that each life form is created to learn to be an equal contributor to the beauty of the whole. And that's WHOLE, whole. And so when we were talking about the talking stick, and everyone's voice has value, and that everyone has the opportunity to be heard if they choose to be heard when you're using the talking stick. And so that no matter what they have to say, that you're there to listen and to have an open mind as possible to hear something from a different perspective. That it does have some value, even though it may be in direct contradiction to your belief, right? And so when I read this, I thought, well, that's how we become contributors of the whole, is because we each have value. We each are a sacred space. When we talked about the sacred space, each one of us hold a sacred space within the sacred hoop of life. And that's why we're here, is to contribute equally of value to that. And I know it sounds kind of romanticized. Realize that? Because when you take a look at what's out there in the 3D and some things are happening, like to the 1,500 children that somehow they disappeared. Nobody knows where they're at. To national governments and what they do and don't do, and so you wonder, if we all have equal value, what's that value? It's hard for our mental mind to find logic with that. Elise says, I'm here, was on the phone. Oh, that's okay. That's all right. That's the beauty of having a recorded video, right? So you can come back and listen when you get a chance. Jamie Sam says that that from the native point of view, great mystery is all, capital ALL. The aspects of the creation that are manifest by great mystery are sacred parts of the whole that are here to serve and be honored in that service. I'm going to say that again because I think that's pretty important. It's one of those sentences that jumped out at me. The aspects of the creation that are manifested by great mystery are sacred parts of the whole that are here to serve and be honored in that service. And she goes on to talk about that Native Americans, in a traditional sense, we don't worship or idolize idols. Some people will say that we worship the trees, and we respect them and we honor them, yes, but they're not idolized. They're our relatives. And she says that that these sacred medicine objects, such as totems, are reminders of the relationship assisting our evolution on this earth walk. So in other words, our allies, our spiritual team, help us to remember that that we are in relationship with all other creation, and that they're here to help us to walk this walk. That when we have something that we are trying to bring into the physical world, manifest it, and that they're here to help us, and that we ask them for help. Yeah. This is a nice reminder for all of us, is that our spiritual team, they're in spirit, helping another spirit, having a physical existence here, learning what we came here to learn, and how to master our gifts here. They're kind of in a university, college sense, they're our TAs. They are our teaching assistants. We're working on our PhD here, called the Earth School, a school of polarity. They're our teaching assistants, and they're here to help us. They're here to help us remember that we are part of the great mystery, that we carry the original source within us. There's a There's a meme out there about we have stardust in our souls. Yeah. And and because it's Star Nations, the sign behind me, Star Nations, we have a connection to the stars, and through my traditional belief that the stars are part of our ancestors. That's where we go back to. We travel the river of souls, which is the Milky Way. And so when I saw that meme, it meant a great deal. And then you get this card and you look at the artwork, and that it's being the original source, that it's within us. Kind of means the same thing. But I don't know if the person who created that meme really understood the concept of the Great Mystery. Maybe that's why they did it. I don't know. Elise, let's see. We'll send your garden stone out soon. Thank you. When I saw that picture, Elise, it jumped out at me. It's like, that is it's so pretty. She says, sometimes I make things and then wonder why that was made for you. Yay! I can't wait to see it. I'm going to have to figure out which garden I'm going to put it in. And you're going to give me kind of like suggestions and how to take care of it, right? Because you're in I forget what state you're in. Michigan? I think you're in Michigan. Our winters can get quite harsh here, and so if I need to bring it in before the frost hits, I'll put it on that to-do list in the fall. So the Great Mystery. She says that all creations are part of Great Mystery's whole. Just as every cell in the human body has a different function, and yet together those cells make up a carbon combustible unit that houses a spirit with a unique identity, our unique vibration, right? Our soul song. She says all ideas in creation come from great mysteries, are gathered by Great Spirit, and then are used to feed the rest of creation. To limit the power of creation in ourselves or others is a human concept. We acknowledge the limitlessness of the Great Mystery. We must acknowledge that this life force is also part of our makeup because we are created by the same original source. So it's only in our own mental mind that we put those limitations on ourselves. Because if we really believed in the concept of the Great Mystery and that it's here residing within us, that we are part of that Great Mystery expressing themselves here on earth to gain wisdom, experience, soul growth, that we too would be limitless. That is, I want that. I want that. I want to be able to express my gifts 100%. I want to experience that. What would that be like? As Polly Joe's, hopefully she's still in the chat room, is to be able to utilize our chakras 100%. What would that be like? And a good friend of mine, Teresa Jarity, she was here in the chat room yesterday. She always has such great ideas, and so many so that she'll bowl somebody over, right? And so it's like, all right, now take the lid off, because we would have creative meetings and take the lid off and let Teresa go and what she could come up with. Limitless. Yeah. So if the application of this card, so this is the stuff that we want to watch unfold today. How does it come to us? How does that energy around this great mystery, the original source, how does it flow to us? The card tells us the original source is the creator of all life and that we are created in that likeness. We are free-willed co-creators who become the source of all we choose to experience. The buck stops here. We are totally responsible for all of our joys and all of our pain. In receiving this card, you're being reminded to give gratitude for all of your lessons. It changes any pain to gain. We're to focus our creative capacity, and you can change anything. It may be time to drop any blame, shame, or regret and take charge of your life. She says the victim role doesn't suit two-leggeds. We're created in the image of the infinite creator and are therefore limitless co-creators. Original source shows us that the mystery lives within us and contains all the answers we need to find along the sacred path. And we've been saying that from the beginning, right? Is that our soul, in our hearts, we carry everything that we need to know, everything we need to remember, we already have within us. And it's the uncovering, it's the healing, it's the taking responsibility for our own healing so that we can get closer and closer to our original vibration. And to me, that's what this is talking about, that we're taking responsibility for our own soul growth. Polly Jo is saying, yes. Elise answered my question about, she's sending me a garden stone. Stepping stone. She said, yep, she's from Michigan. The garden stone is sealed, but I bring mine in just to be sure. Good. It's good to know because I'll do the same thing. Jamie Sam says that the sacred path of beauty is experiencing the mystery of life without having to control the outcome from our tunnel vision command post. Go with the flow and watch the glory of limitless co-creation. After all, the great mystery is the divine plan, and everything is on schedule. The great mystery. Yep. I'd like, these are the kind of cards, this card is the kind that I like thinking about this stuff. I like contemplating. I like taking it and looking how it fits in to my life and connecting the dots and what concepts have we already studied or experienced that are very similar to what Jamie wrote. And so much of it is the same information, maybe just slightly different, coming from another perspective, the Seneca perspective. And it's a good way to be able to validate whether or not we're on the right path, or maybe even to help us see it from that different perspective, another layer of ourselves in there. I like that. Here's the poem. Original source of creation, the void of all that is, thank you for the breath of life. Thank you for my gifts. Eternal mystery, touch my heart. In beauty may I walk. Sacred mystery, be my guide, so I may walk my talk. Infinite source, remain within me, so I may always know the warmth of your eternal flame deep within my soul. Deep within my soul. That Jamie Sams is a good poet, I do believe. Well, the great mystery. I just want to thank everybody for being here with me this morning to chat about the card draw for the day, the great mystery. And, I say this just about every morning too, is that, whatever you heard today, whatever you felt today in the information, in what we shared, just take what resonates with you, what feels right to you. And all the rest, just let it go. It's okay. Maybe you already knew it. Maybe you already remembered it. Maybe we're just planting seeds. I don't know. Just take what felt good and see what happens with it. See how the energy moves through you today, through you. Are you going to be bearing witness to something, or are you an active participant in the unfolding of it? Yeah, I'm going to watch too. Today is Monday, beginning of a new work week. It's a busy one. The following Monday, the following few days after we publish the magazine on the 10th, which we did, the June issue is now out of Star Nations magazine. Is busy because I push back some things because the magazine takes a lot of my focus the last few days, like from the 7th to about the 10th. So today is busy because I'm meeting with a new author that we might be publishing her book. We're meeting after lunch, meeting with another show host and contributing writer. Minnie and I will be talking about how her contributing to Star Nations, and we're going to be doing some adjustments for her. And we already met this morning with the building crew, who is going to be doing some renovations here up at the academy where I do the live streams from. We don't have a bathroom up here. And actually, it's because of the money situations. Those things are expensive. And so when we built the building, we thought, well, we'll take care of it when we start getting more income, and so it can pay for itself, right? And so here we are. We're going to have a washroom, and we're going to start moving toward moving the school off grid. So in other words, generating our own power here. And so the restroom is a composite toilet and a renewable wash stand to wash your hands. And so it took a while for it to come together, gel together, but here we are. Yay. And so the builders will be here while they have to send us the price quote. And I'm hoping to have everything done by the end of September. Cross your fingers. That's my plan anyway. That's what I'm going to manifest. I'm going to be calling my spiritual team. Already knows about it. We started this a little while ago. So anyway, that is kind of a busy day. You're going to see another live stream from me later today. I'm going to be talking about the June issue that I hope you guys will really like. I know I'm very partial to it, but I hope you guys will like it. All right, with that, enjoy your Monday. And we got a couple of shows coming up this week. We have From Star to Stone tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern with Mervyn Kelly. He's talking about magic from the Druid perspective. It's going to be a good one. And then there's Polly Joe's show, Chakra Sessions, on Tuesday at noon Eastern. And then my show at 8 p.m. Eastern, Communications from Home. I have Orchun and Carl Franklin with me on my show. We're going to be talking about the dissolving of the ego. Can be kind of painful. Join me for that discussion. And then Polly Joe's back with us on Wednesday night for Soul Connections. It's an hour of divine healing and messages. And so if you're a healer and you haven't taken the chance to do your own healing, that hour is really good for that. Really, really. Polly Joe, what is the topic for your show? I should know this. I just did the promotion for you yesterday, and I'm thinking mastering your gifts. Was that it? Yeah, Ellie says you're busy enough. Oh, yeah, it's true. But you know what? I love it. I do. I chose to experience the use of my gifts. I chose Star Nations as the vehicle for that. So, yeah. Polly Joe says it's about intuition, mastering your gifts and your intuition. That's it. You think that maybe we kind of sat down and said, let's talk about this week. We didn't. It all kind of comes together because our spiritual teams work together. And so enjoy. Come to the other shows, and we'll see you again, okay? And that means Bama Mina in Potawatomi until we see each other again. I'll see you tomorrow morning for tomorrow's card draw. Have a good day.